Dairy microbiology is particularly related to the microorganisms which are involved in making of dairy products and spoilage of dairy products. Dairy products means the products which are produced from a common raw material, that is milk. You see, milk is considered as a single food substance that contains different vitamins like vitamin A, B2, B1, and small amounts of vitamins C and D, and lactose, fats, and proteins. So it is a mixture of different nutrients, and that's why it is an attractive source for the growth of microorganisms. So it is called as a complete food due to the presence of different types of nutritional elements. So the products which are produced from this raw material are to be considered under dairy microbiology. So milk provides all the essential nutrients and excellent growth of many bacterial species. So it is secreted into the udder of healthy cow, which is sterile. So generally it is free from microorganisms if it is directly collected from the udder of healthy cow, but frequently it gets contaminated when drawn from the udder by microorganisms that have entered the teat canal from the outside. That means there are chances of contamination while milking of the animal. So it may get further contaminated in subsequent handling and processing by humans, that leads to the addition of microorganisms into the milk. And these microorganisms are responsible for the spoilage of milk. So undesirable growth of microorganisms, that is contamination, it leads to the spoil of milk. Milk and milk products, they can be preserved by pasteurization. Like in earlier chapter, we have studied the methods of preservation of food. So in case of dairy products, the products which are manufactured from milk, they can be preserved by the method of pasteurization. So the name is given in the honor of its inventor, that is Louis Pasteur. So the process is called as pasteurization treatment. Pasteurization, it is a heating treatment. Means the milk is heated to particular temperature for a particular time. Say for example, milk or milk products are heated to 62.8 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes or 71.7 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds. What you can note in this is that when the temperature is less, that is 62.8, the time of exposure is 30 minutes, whereas when the temperature is higher, that is 71.7 degrees Celsius, then the time is shorter, that is 50 seconds. So this relationship is beneficial for the killing or elimination of bacteria which are present in milk. There is another method of milk sterilization by its exposure to ultra high temperature for a very short period of time, that is 148.9 degrees Celsius for 1 to 2 seconds. Now here there is no complete sterilization, that means there is no complete killing of microorganisms. So what is required in pasteurization is that whatever the spoilage causing bacteria which are present in milk, that are targeted. That means only spoilage causing bacteria or bacterial pathogens that may transmitted from animals to humans are only targeted during pasteurization. So please note here that pasteurization is not a sterilization process, but we can call it as partial sterilization process, because all the microorganisms are not killed here, only partially. That means spoilage causing microorganisms and microbial pathogens are killed during pasteurization process. So if the milk is not preserved by the method such as pasteurization, then undesirable or unwanted microorganisms will grow in milk or milk product, that leads to the souring of milk. So milk sours and spoils. We have learned in earlier chapter what is the meaning of spoilage. Change in the physical and chemical characteristics of the product is called as spoilage. So that spoilage is caused because of microorganisms, and in this case the microorganisms involved in the spoilage of milk majoritarily involves lactic acid bacteria. For example, Streptococcus lactis. Then there may be growth of a group of bacteria called as coliforms that produce different types of acids such as acetic acid, formic acid, butanediol, and this leads to the spoilage of milk. In Marathi, it is called as दूध नासणे. There is one more consideration, that the carriers, that means the handlers, that means the dairy workers, these can carry several pathogens like Salmonella, Corynebacterium diphtheria, Shigella dysentery. All these are the names of bacterial pathogens that cause infections in humans. So these can be carried out by different carriers into milk, and from that milk it may enter or it may get transmitted to the other humans after consumption. There are several pathogens which can be transferred from animals into the human beings. These infections are called as zoonotic infection. That means zoo means animals. Animals मधून humans मध्ये the pathogens are transmitted. It is called as zoonotic infection. For example, bovine tuberculosis, undulant fever, and Q fever. So the causative agents of these diseases may get transferred from animals to humans. म्हणजे ह्युमन्सला सुद्धा हा डिसीज होऊ शकतो फ्रॉम द consumption of contaminated milk from the infected animal. Then bacteria are also useful in the making of dairy products, milk and milk products. So this is the beneficial role of bacteria in dairy microbiology. So they are involved in the making of fermented milks. They are involved in the making of butter and cheese. The starter culture of lactic acid bacteria are useful for the making of these different types of food products. So what this lactic acid bacteria does, they are responsible for production of lactic acid, and this lactic acid is responsible for the acidification of the milk, and it is responsible for the development of flavor. So lactic acid bacteria are important in the making of fermented milk, butter and cheese. For example, cultured buttermilk and sour cream is produced by the fermentation caused by bacterium Streptococcus lactis or Streptococcus cremoris or Leuconostoc dextranicum. All these are called as lactic acid bacteria. Why they are called as lactic acid bacteria? Because they produce lactic acid, and this lactic acid is responsible for the change in the characteristics of milk. We call it as the fermented milk product. Another example of fermented milk product is yogurt, or in India it is called as dahi, but dahi is different from yogurt. Dahi is prepared from mixed culture of lactic acid bacteria, whereas yogurt is produced from a single culture or a dual culture of lactic acid bacteria. That means दह्यामध्ये एकापेक्षा जास्त लॅक्टिक ॲसिड बॅक्टेरिया यूज केले जातात, परंतु योगर्टमध्ये there is use of a single lactic acid bacterium. Therefore, yogurt is a fermented, slightly acidic, semi-solid food which is prepared by first evaporating some of the water from skim milk, and then that is fermented by Streptococcus thermophilus and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. The incubation temperature is 45 degrees Celsius for several hours. There is a standard protocol for incubation for the making of yogurt. So the flavor in the yogurt is developed due to accumulation of lactic acid and acetaldehyde, which is produced as a result of fermentation. Likewise, lactic acid bacteria are also useful in the making of acidophilus milk. We call it as buttermilk, Bulgarian milk, kefir, and komis are slightly effervescent beverages of low alcoholic content. That means these are the milks which are sour in taste due to lactic acid, as well as it has some percentage of ethanol, that is 1 to 2%. Cheese is a very popular fermented milk product which is used for the consumption by humans, and this cheese is defined as it is a concentrate of milk, fat, and proteins which is fermented by means of lactic acid bacteria. There are thousands of varieties of cheese which are produced throughout the world. It can be produced at home also. So depending on the characteristics of cheese, depending on the region of production, depending on the type of lactic acid bacteria used, there are thousands of varieties of cheese. So the cheese, it can be a soft cheese, it can be a hard cheese, it can be a porous cheese, it can be a compact cheese. So there are different varieties and they have different tests also. So making of cheese, it involves addition of a culture of lactic acid bacteria to fresh milk. So the first step is curdling of milk, means conversion of milk to curd. For this, there is addition of lactic acid bacteria. So lactic acid bacteria will produce acid, and that acid will convert the milk casein. Casein is a protein present in milk. That casein is coagulated, that leads to formation of curd. Next step is the milk is warmed to temperature favorable for the growth of bacteria. Then a milk clotting enzyme is added to coagulate the milk casein, forming curd. That milk clotting enzyme is called as renin, and this renin is responsible for coagulation of casein. So as a result of addition of renin, the milk coagulation is possible just within 30 minutes. Normally for the curdling process, with the use of lactic acid bacteria, 12 hours are required, but in industries, the milk is converted to curd in just 30 minutes, and that is by the addition of renin. Generally, renin is obtained from rennet extract. Rennet extract means it is the extract which is obtained from the fourth stomach of young cows or calves. So it is an animal born product, rennet extract, and that is responsible for contributing the renin, and that renin converts milk into curd. Nowadays, renin is not obtained from the rennet extract, or it is not obtained from rumen, but it is obtained from the microorganisms. Microorganisms, they produce this rennet, renin by fermentation, and then that renin is used in this step. After the coagulation is over, the curd is cooked. Cooking is responsible for the loss of water, and that loss of water is responsible for the formation of a compact curd. Means the curd particles will join together. Then the next step is salting, addition of NaCl. So either the curd, blocks of the curd are dipped in brine. Brine means it is a solution of NaCl, or the curd is milled into pieces, and then the salt is sprinkled onto these fine curd particles. After that, the next step is pressing. So by means of pressing, the blocks of cheese are prepared. Then these blocks of cheese are transferred to a room having a controlled humidity and temperature. This step is called as maturation step or the ripening step. Ripening means maturation. So the flavor of cheese, it develops during the process of maturation or ripening. So this temperature and humidity control room is basically very useful. So the ripening process, it may takes a period of 1 month to 1 to 2 years. That means for 2 years, maximum for 2 years, the cheese, it can be stored in that temperature and humidity controlled room. So during these 2 years, the physical and chemical changes in the texture and the flavor of the cheese develops. That means there is improvement in the flavor of cheese due to the storage period, and as a result of that, a flavorful cheese is produced. These are the different types of fermented milk products, substrates, and the starter culture. The raw material used for the making of all these products is, of course, milk, but there are different types of milks that can be used for the production. For example, skim milk, cow milk, sheep milk, goat milk, mare milk, or milk cream, or concentrated skim milk. So these are the different raw materials, for different forms of milk which can be used as a raw material for the making of fermented milk products like acidophilus milk, Bulgarian milk, cultured buttermilk, kefir, kommes, sour cream, and yogurt. And the last column shows the examples of bacteria used in the production of these different types of milk products. So these bacteria are nothing but lactic acid bacteria. So we need to remember the names of lactic acid bacteria. At least 4 names we should remember: Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus bulgaricus, Leuconostoc cremoris, Streptococcus lactis, Lactobacillus bulgaricus, Streptococcus lactis, Leuconostoc cremoris, Streptococcus thermophilus, etc., etc.